Welcome back. Today's video is going to be fun filled. I have a new launch from Rms Beauty. We're gonna give Exa Beauty a second chance, both the foundation and their corrector. And I also have a new mystery launch from Surrat, so we're gonna go over all these products. But without further ado, let's go ahead and try these out. First off, if I look hot, it's because I am. It's hot in here and I'm a face sweater, so that's a bad combo. But, you know, do what we gotta do for the video, for the YouTube. So let's talk about this new Rms Beauty launch. This is their SPF. So this is called their Supernatural Radiance Serum. So I have really good news and really bad news with this. Let me just go over what it is. So it's sort of like, well, first off, it's an SPF 30, very thin mineral sunscreen. It gives you glow and it also evens out your skin tone. They have 3 different shades. This is the lightest one. The good news is this is the most beautiful sunscreen I've ever put on my face. It is such a good time for mineral sunscreens. Like, they just keep getting thinner and more comfortable and more beautiful on the skin. So this is absolutely gorgeous. It's like if the Say Super Glowy Gel had a baby with an SPF, because it has that level glow to it where it has those super fine particles where it doesn't look like glitter, but it makes you look so glowy. It's just perfect. It's also like not too dewy. A lot of clean SPFs especially tend to be like really glowy and dewy and they just end up like feeling gross on your skin. This one is not. It's more of like a satin dewy finish. It's just the perfect amount of like moisturization. The bad news is I'm sadly allergic to this. I like don't want it to be true. I keep patch testing it because I just like don't want to believe that I can't use this. But I did try this on the other day and I had an allergic reaction and I was like, okay, maybe it's some other product that I was using. But I continued to test this, like patch test it, and it just gives me a rash every time. I have no idea what ingredient is doing that because it's really interesting. I also like have that same reaction to the Ilia SPF, not the tinted one, but like the, like, I don't know what it's called. You know the SPF, not the tinted super serum, but the other one from Ilia. I also had an allergic reaction to that, which is literally devastating because this is so gorgeous. But if you're not like sensitive or have allergic reactions, I totally recommend trying this out. It is so gorgeous. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say it's the most beautiful sunscreen I ever got to put on my face one time. But I do also have a discount code with RMS if you wanted to get a discount. I believe it's for 20% off. It's always in the description below. But that was my quick little talk through that product because I had to mention it even though I unfortunately can't wear it. And then I also just quickly wanted to mention I tried this sunscreen on today. This is from Prunier. It's their Plumscreen, which I got as a sample from Credo. This is really gorgeous. It's what I'm wearing today. It's not this glowy. I'm kind of just like a little bit sweaty. It was really pretty and thin but still moisturizing. So this might be a good new sunscreen for me to try. But let's move on to the base product, which is the Exa Beauty foundation. I did originally review this when it came out and I liked it. It was the wrong shade, so it just ended up in my makeup drawer and I just never used it. And I was like, I should repurchase it because I've just been looking for a good like new everyday foundation, and I decided to pick up my actual shade, which is a great shade match, by the way. So this is their high fidelity semi satin foundation. I got the shade 530, which is a fair neutral shade, and it ended up being a really great match for me. So let's put this bad boy on. So when I tried the RMS sunscreen, I actually tried this as well, and at first I thought it might be this foundation. I actually would have preferred if it was this and not the SPF, but sadly that was not the outcome. So if you've never seen this before, it is a super thin consistency. It's kind of good that my cheeks are red because we'll see how well this covers. I have been testing this the past couple days. Got a brand new sponge to use with it and everything. And I'm going to start with a little bit because in my experience so far, less is more with this foundation. I mean, it like literally just covered up that redness really easily. This does have a very like orangey scent to it. Like, it does have, I believe, like orange essential oils in it, which I thought that might be like one of the things in the SPF that I'm allergic to, but this has like orange essential oils and I don't have a problem with it. So it might be just like one of the, I don't even know. I have to figure that out. The one thing that I do notice with this foundation is that it can sit on your skin a little bit. That's why I've been trying to use just like way less of it, and it can like sort of settle into lines because it's quite dewy. But this shade match I'm so happy with. It's honestly one of my best matching foundations. I would prefer to build this up and like cover my redness, but I know it's probably going to go away once I cool down. And also, like I said, less is more. And when I find I layered this, it gets just pretty like heavy looking on the skin. But with one layer, I've been like pretty enjoying this so far. I feel like I still have to test it, but I wore it hiking and it actually stayed on pretty dang well, even though I was like blotting my face and like got pretty sweaty. So I have high hopes. So I also decided to pick up the Corrector, which I never tried, but this went viral like when it first came out. So they have several different shades of this. I was teetering on getting either the yellow or the green to use on my face. Yellow also works really good for my under eyes, but I decided to just get the pink one and try it out. So this is a pretty thick consistency. This is also something I've been trying the past couple days. This is like more pink than I was expecting. It's not really a peach, it's like basically a true baby pink. It does have really good coverage, so I try to only use a little bit. I've actually worn this the past couple days with nothing else on top of it, literally just as a concealer because it's like that full coverage and pretty similar to like just matching my skin tone. But I have found that this just creases like, it's not super creasy, but it just creases a little bit more than I would prefer as compared to my Pixie Pot Corrector, the peach one, which doesn't really crease at all. But it's not too bad, so I've still been like enjoying using it, and it works well with all of the concealers I've tried with it as well. I do think it did a pretty good job at like canceling out the darkness under my eyes. And I'm gonna do a little bit of concealer on top of it today. I'm gonna use my Thrive Buildable Blur. You know that I like this. If you haven't seen my Best of Summer Beauty Awards that just came out, this was my concealer pick. It's just super thin and really doesn't feel like anything, but still gives you that coverage. And I do like to let this sit under my eyes a little bit because as it dries it builds up a little bit of coverage, and then just going in with my sponge to blend it out. Milk Makeup also sent me some goodies, which was super nice. Thank you, Milk Makeup. If you want a review of those, like a try on video, let me know. I think that'd be fun to do. I really haven't tried Milk Makeup in a while. I did a full face on my channel like probably I think a couple of years ago now. It'd be fun to do an updated one. I have some like really deep feeling pimples coming on right now, but I think I'm gonna cover those with powder foundation. Usually that's the best way for me to cover like stubborn pimples. Let's set this. I think I'm gonna keep it classic and just use my Laura Mercier powder, especially since this foundation is a little bit on the dewier side. Oh, I had a sample of that Patrick Star One Size powder, just the original shade, and I saw they came out with a pink one and I love that formula. So I've actually been really interested in maybe possibly picking that up. I've never tried a pink powder. I don't think it's something I would put like all over my face because usually like things that are too pink look off on my skin undertone, but it might be nice for under the eyes. Just smoothing everything out before I set. Such a key in getting a creaseless finish. I also usually go in with my finger as well. I just am really crease prone under my eyes. And then I have my brush preloaded with powder. Just go in and set. Another slight con I noticed with this foundation is that if you have any dry skin, it doesn't sit well on top of it really at all. So I'd make sure you have like well exfoliated skin. Like I just have a little bit near my nose and it looks kind of weird. But I feel like this is almost like, if you used to love the Ilia Original True Skin Serum Foundation, this is a very, very similar like feel and finish. And even though it is a little bit dewier, I appreciate how it sets down well. Like you can tell, it does mattify pretty easily. Just really like to hit those T-zone areas. And I'm just gonna use the rest to set my face. I don't know if Laura Mercier still has this jumbo size out. They usually do it seasonally. If you can find it, I would recommend it if you like this powder, because I love having this big lid because you can really like get your brush in it. And of course, obviously the powder would just last you forever. Boost my coverage just a tad. I'm gonna go in with my Pure Pressed Powder Foundation. This is the shade LG6. Just on those like red parts of my cheeks, which I don't mind because it kind of just looks like I already have blush on. I just want to tone it down a little bit. And then I'm going to take a small brush and use this for my blemishes. Such a good trick if you feel like your concealer or whatever just isn't sticking, I just take a small little pencil brush and sort of just press it over. It also like makes it not as cakey looking as if you were to like keep layering foundation and concealer, especially if they're like really pigmented and red like mine get. I'm gonna take a little bit of this over my nose as well. Next up, we have our Surrat launch. So let's open these up. So these are their new Artistique sounds the most right, I think. Anyway, it's their new bronzers, and there's 2 shades here. It has their classic beautifully Surrat packaging. This is the Soleil Dough. I'm just gonna stop trying to pronounce these because it's probably wrong. Ooh, this is such a beautiful like neutral bronze. And they said this is the same formula or similar formula as their blushes, which I love. So they're super smooth, like not super pigmented, and just have it almost looks like a cream blended out, like it's not powdery at all. And then we have this other shade. Oh my god, this one's like even, oops, more neutral too. These are gorgeous shades. Wow. These are beautiful. I was not expecting them to be like so like neutral olive friendly. They're not like warm or orange at all. I feel like I need to try both of them. I'm gonna start with this lighter one that we swatched first. Taking an angled brush. This one is from MOTD, the Get Cheeky With It. I'm gonna dab it in, but then make sure I get sort of the excess off. Let's see how this applies. That's so beautiful. I love the pigmentation level of these in a bronzer. It's definitely more on the sheer side, which is perfect, especially if you are fair like me. I just really like a sheer buildable bronzer that you can just like continue to build up. Get that nice bronzed look. Beautiful finish too, like they are matte, but they look, well, I don't know if they're matte. They're sort of like a satin. They just look really skin-like. Wow, I'm loving this. I actually feel like this foundation, the Exa foundation, is the prettiest I've ever gotten it to look too. Maybe the key is that Mercier powder. Now the slightly smaller brush. Let's go ahead and try this sort of deeper shade. I guess this one is slightly more red, if you were to say like this one's red and this one has more like a yellow base. They're both just like beautiful undertones though. Like it almost is like a contour shade. Again, picking up a little bit but tapping off the excess. So I'm gonna treat this more like a contour. Just do a little bit under the cheekbones. Also taking some just down the sides of my nose. That is a very gorgeous bronzer. I was really not expecting these shades to be so perfect. So if you have a hard time finding very flattering, like non-orangey, super warm tone bronzers, definitely check these bad boys out. I was gonna use a different blush, but I am just so fully obsessed with this Rms Beauty blush. I used a different one yesterday and I missed it. I think it's just, this is so cool toned and I love the glow. My favorite brush to apply it with, by the way, is the Trixie Cosmetics P11. Something about like the shape of this brush really diffuses it naturally. Gives you like a very airbrushed finish. It's gonna go so good with that bronzer. If you have tried this blush, let me know what you think of it. Or if you've tried one different from this shade, let me know what your favorite shade is, because I definitely need to get some more because, you know, I use it all the time. I feel like it just like brightens my face in such a flattering way. If I even wear a blush that's like slightly like neutral warm, it looks like I have makeup on, but like this color, it always looks so natural on me. I don't know what I was gonna say. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and do my brows off camera because that's probably boring to you guys, so I will be back. I'm using the Kosas Brow Pop, by the way. I'm actually using a soft brown. I always use this when I don't feel like doing my brows because it fills them in so quickly, because it's one of those thicker like triangular point brow pencils. So it's like my lazy girl brow pencil. Alright, I feel like they look decent enough. I did not really plan anything for the eye look. I think I just want to do something really natural. So I just pulled out my Victoria Beckham signature palette and I'm just mixing those first 2 light shades, using that as a transition, crease shade, whatever you want to call it. And then picking up those same 2 shades, just running that on my lower lash line. And then taking this satiny brown shade, and I just like to pop this on the outer corner just for a little bit of definition. And then taking the same big fluffy brush to blend it. This is another Trixie brush. This is the P07. really beautiful blending brush. This is another one of my favorite Trixie cosmetic brushes. This is the P09, which is this super like fat, dense shader brush, which is just like one of my favorite, like, it's like a dream brush to me. Something super dense and wide to just like get your lid in one fell swoop. I'm using the House of Sillage Disney palette in the light cream. All right, my camera cut out, but I just finished up the rest of the look. It's super basic. I was not lying about that. I just did shadow liner with like a dark purple, and then my Maybelline mascara and a little bit of matte white on the inner corner. But let's move on to our lip. I actually want to do like a slightly brighter lip today, by the way. So let's start with this About Face matte lip pencil in Little Little. Sort of like a mid-tone mauve pink. Oh, and I also love this mirror, by the way. This was from the Trixie and Katya collab, which I don't know if they still have available. They do usually have some sort of colorway going on with this mirror. Like such a dream. It was like honestly like a dream thing of mine to have like a cool makeup mirror. And now I have one. And then I pulled this out of my collection. This is from Mercier. This is their Rouge Essentiel Silky Cream Lipstick in Mauve. That was the tiniest writing to read. It's like this kind of brightish, like orchid color. So that would be really pretty and flattering. Oh, and happy Pride Month, by the way. Trixie Cosmetics, great brand to support. I will also have some organizations listed below if you want to donate, or you can just support some queer-owned brands, which I will also try to link. See, I feel like this is like kind of the perfect, this is like a bright lip to me. I'm so used to neutrals, even though it's not that bright, you know. This is actually a really good example of my everyday makeup. It looks pretty much like this. Sometimes I will do a liquid liner or either shadow liner, but usually pretty light on the eyes, but I do like to have like, you know, a lot of blush and stuff. But we tried a lot of fun products today. We talked about the Rms SPF already. You know how I feel about it. It's beautiful. If you try it, I would love to know what you think of it. And then also giving these Exa Beauty products another chance. Well, this one is like the first chance because I've never tried it. But this foundation, I do really like having it in my collection. It can be a little bit heavy. I think if you have like drier skin, this would be a really, really good one for you. If you have oily skin, it might just be slightly too emollient, or maybe just like a good winter foundation. Like for me, I really do need to set it down or else it can look like a little bit heavy and a little bit cakey. But it's workable, and I'm just obsessed with the fact that it actually matches me. This is really pretty. It does crease a little bit on me, like compared to the Pixie one. I would probably still reach for that over this, but I might be interested in trying the green or yellow one for my face because I think it would be really great as a face concealer. And Credo Beauty may or may not be having a sale very soon. I don't know, maybe keep an eye out. But yeah, that was really fun to give a second shot. These Surrat Bronzers, I was so amazed with these shades. They are gorgeous. I honestly thought the second one might be too dark for me. They're both beautiful, very flattering if you're a very similar skin tone to me. But this was a fun little try on video, a little chatty. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did. It really helps me out. I say it every time. Maybe you do give it a thumbs up, or maybe you don't, but maybe this will be the video that you will do it. So give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell if you want to get notifications every time I post new content so you don't miss it. If it doesn't show up in your feed either, who knows with YouTube, I don't know. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.